U.S. fires precision missile after Venezuelan warship opens fire on Navy destroyer.
14 a.m. local time, the Caribbean Sea looks calm. Clear sky. Light waves. A normal patrol morning. Then, everything changes. A Venezuelan patrol ship suddenly turns hard to the north, engines pushing past 25 knots, cutting straight across an American patrol route. The distance closes fast. 8,000 meters. No warning call. No signal flags. 3 bright flashes break the quiet. A 76mm naval gun fires. The shells slam into the water just 70 meters off the bow of USS Gravely, an active United States Navy destroyer moving at steady speed in international waters. Spray rises over the deck. The message is unmistakable. This is not an accident. Inside the destroyer, alarms sound. Radar tracks tighten. Screens that were calm seconds ago now glow with threat markers. Sailors freeze for a split second, then move. Training takes over. Instead of backing away, the Venezuelan ship angles even closer, lining up its approach as if daring the next step. This is a choice, a risky one. This moment is no longer about navigation. It is about pressure, a test, a challenge set in steel and gunfire. What the Venezuelan crew does not realize is that they have already crossed a line they cannot see, and the response forming around them will unfold faster than they expect. If you want to follow what happens next, moment by moment, stay with us and subscribe. What happened in those first seconds matters far beyond one exchange of fire. The Caribbean Sea is not empty water. It is one of the most watched maritime regions on the planet. Shipping lanes run through it day and night. Counter-drug patrols operate non-stop. Commercial vessels, fishing boats, and military ships all move through the same space. Every radar in the area is active all the time. The American destroyer, USS Gravely, was operating in international waters, roughly 37 nautical miles from the Venezuelan coast. That distance matters. It places the ship outside territorial limits, but close enough to carry political weight. For years, this zone has been used for quiet pressure, shadowing, and warning moves that stop just short of open conflict. From the Venezuelan side, closing in here sends a message. It shows resolve to a domestic audience. It signals defiance to Washington. And it tests how far an American warship will tolerate being pushed without responding. For the sailors aboard Gravely, this was not theory or politics. A naval shell landing 70 meters closer does not warn. It kills. Everyone on deck knows that a few seconds and a few yards decide whether a patrol ends safely or becomes a casualty report. That is why this moment carried such weight. The ship was not escorting a carrier or preparing for battle. It was doing routine work. Routine missions are where mistakes happen and where sudden violence is hardest to absorb. This confrontation forced a question that every Navy understands. When pressure turns into gunfire, does restraint still apply, or does survival take over? The answer given here would be watched closely, not just in Caracas or Washington, but by commanders far beyond the Caribbean. What followed would show that the United States response was not driven by anger, but by calculation, and that choice would change the meaning of the encounter entirely. Inside the destroyer, the shift is instant. On the radar screen, a single contact changes color. Green turns to red. That small change means the difference between presence and threat. It means someone on the other ship has decided to keep pushing. The Venezuelan patrol vessel holds speed and adjusts course again. The gun remains trained forward. The distance stays tight. Too tight. In the combat center, no one shouts. Voices stay low, short, controlled. A sailor calls out heading and speed. Another confirms range. Numbers update every second. The ship is steady, cutting clean water, while calculations race ahead of human thought. A pause hangs in the air. Not hesitation. Discipline. This is the first response. Not a weapon. Not yet. It is awareness. It is control. Orders move quietly through the ship. Systems align. Sensors lock. Options stack up on the screen, each one more severe than the last. The crew understands what those options mean, not in theory, but in consequence. Outside, the sea remains calm. Inside, time feels compressed. Seconds stretch. Every person knows the next move will define the entire encounter. The Venezuelan ship does not slow. It does not break away. It keeps pressing forward, holding its line as if betting the American ship will blink first. That decision sharpens everything. This is no longer about warning shots or distance. This is about authority at sea, about who controls the moment and who loses it. One side is forcing escalation. The other is deciding how much force is enough to stop it without losing control of the situation. If you believe the United States should stand firm and respond, press 1. If you think restraint should come first, press 9 and let us know why in the comments. And subscribe to stay with us as this confrontation unfolds. The window for a first strike is closing, and the next choice will not allow a second chance. The tension tightens. The Venezuelan patrol vessel makes another small turn, trying to hold position off the destroyer's bow. At sea, even a few degrees matter. A slight angle can open distance or close it fast. Right now, every angle is closing. Aboard USS Gravely, the helm answers with a controlled adjustment. Not a sharp move, just enough to shift the geometry. The ship slides into open water where there is room to maneuver and fewer shadows from the coast. This is escalation without noise. Inside, sensors keep feeding data. Speed, bearing, sea state. The system updates non-stop. Each update removes uncertainty. Each second narrows the choices. On the Venezuelan ship, the gun stays forward. No sign of disengagement. No reduction in speed. The message is clear. They want the American ship to turn away first. Silence stretches across the deck. No one speaks unless needed. The ocean rolls gently, indifferent to what is building above it. That calm makes the moment heavier, not easier. In close encounters like this, restraint and weakness can look the same from the outside. The crew knows the difference. They also know how quickly that line disappears. A brief report comes in. All systems green. No mechanical strain. No crew injuries. The destroyer is ready for whatever comes next. Another pause. Longer this time. This is where mistakes usually happen. When fatigue sets in. When pressure pushes someone to act too early or too late. The crew fights that instinct by sticking to process step by step. The Venezuelan ship edges closer again, pressing the limit. It is now clear this will not end on its own. One side will have to decide how far this goes. What makes this moment dangerous is not speed or weapons, but timing. Wait too long, and control slips away. Act too fast, and escalation becomes impossible to stop. Every person on board feels that weight, knowing the next order will lock the course of events. Hands stay steady on controls. Eyes remain fixed on screens. Breathing slows on purpose. This is the last quiet stretch before action replaces restraint. In modern naval encounters, escalation is not a sudden leap. It is a slow climb, rung by rung, until one move changes everything. That move is coming. The twist does not come from the Venezuelan ship. It comes from the American decision. Inside the destroyer, multiple response paths sit ready. Some would end the confrontation in seconds. Others would turn this stretch of water into a permanent headline. Everyone in the room understands that once a certain line is crossed, there is no pulling it back. The Venezuelan patrol vessel keeps its course. The gun stays forward. No radio call comes in. No signal of retreat. From their side, this looks like resolve. Like forcing the larger ship to choose between backing down or escalating hard. But that assumption is wrong. The American crew is not choosing between weak and strong. They are choosing between enough and too much. One option rises above the rest. It is precise, limited, controlled. It sends a message without creating bodies or wreckage that cannot be explained away. It is not the loudest choice, but it is the most deliberate. No one on the Venezuelan ship sees this shift happen. There is no visible clue, no sudden movement, no change in posture. The sea stays calm. The distance barely changes. That is what makes the moment dangerous. The Venezuelan crew believes the standoff is still flexible, that there is room to push once more, to press just a little harder and force the American ship to yield. They do not realize the decision has already been made. This is the point where the encounter stops being a test of nerves and becomes a lesson. Not a lesson about firepower, but about control. The silence stretches for a few more seconds, long enough for the choice to settle, long enough for the last chance to pass without anyone noticing it slip away. What happens next will be fast, it will be clean, and it will end the confrontation in a way no one on the Venezuelan ship expects. The order is given without drama. No countdown, no raised voice. A single system goes active. On deck, nothing looks different. The ship holds course, the sea stays calm, but beneath the routine, the moment breaks open. One missile launches. A SM-2 Block IB lifts cleanly from the destroyer and cuts across the morning sky. It accelerates fast, already adjusting its path as it clears the ship. From a distance, it is almost invisible, just a sharp movement against the light. Inside the Venezuelan patrol vessel, warning tones flood the bridge. Screens flash red, alarms stack over each other. The crew has seconds to understand what is happening and even less time to react. 11 seconds. Not enough time to turn away. Not enough time to shut down systems. Not enough time to make a clean decision. The missile corrects course mid-flight, tracking a moving target over open water. Every adjustment tightens the outcome. On the American ship, no one moves, no one speaks. Eyes stay locked on displays as numbers race towards zero. Impact. A sharp flash reflects across the water. The blast strikes near the engine section, not the bow, not the crew spaces. Power drops instantly. The radar mast goes dark. Communications cut out in the same heartbeat. Then the noise is gone. The Venezuelan ship remains afloat, but it is no longer in the fight. Engines are dead. Steering is lost. The vessel begins to drift, carried by the slow pull of the sea. Smoke rises, but there is no secondary explosion. No fire spreading across the deck. No casualties reported. On the destroyer, no one celebrates. No one reacts for several seconds. The crew understands exactly what just happened. The confrontation has ended, not through destruction, but through control. One missile achieved what overwhelming force could have done, without crossing the line into chaos or escalation. If you believe firing once instead of unleashing full power was the right call, press 1. If you think the United States should have struck harder to send a stronger message, press 9. Share your view in the comments and subscribe to stay with us as we break down what this decision triggers next. The water settles again, but the meaning of this moment is only beginning to spread. When the smoke thins, the scene looks almost quiet again. The Venezuelan patrol vessel is still afloat, but it is helpless. Without engines, without radar, without communications, it drifts slowly with the current. What was moments ago a moving threat is now a problem that must be managed, not a fight that can be continued. On board USS Gravely, the crew does not stand down immediately. Damage checks are completed. Systems are reviewed. The ship maintains distance, watching closely, making sure there is no sudden change. Control does not end when the missile hits. It continues until the situation is stable. Reports move up the chain within minutes. No American injuries, no damage to the destroyer. The engagement is logged, timed, and preserved in detail. Every second will be studied later, frame by frame. For Venezuela, the cost is not just the disabled ship. Repairs will take months. Parts will be hard to source. Crews will need retraining. One patrol vessel out of service means wider gaps along the coast, longer response times, and fewer options during future encounters. But the deeper impact spreads beyond one navy. Around the world, commanders notice what did not happen. The United States did not escalate into a full strike. It did not fire again. It did not chase a sinking target or turn a brief clash into a wider incident. One controlled action ended everything. That restraint sends a message stronger than destruction. It shows that force does not need volume to be effective. It needs timing, accuracy, and the discipline to stop when the objective is reached. Other navies will study this moment closely. Not just the missile, but the choice. Not just the damage, but the limit. Because in modern naval confrontations, the most dangerous assumption is believing that pressure can always be increased without consequence. This encounter lasted less than a minute, but its lesson will last far longer. It shows that when lines are crossed, the response may come fast, Clean and final, without warning shots or second chances. The Caribbean returns to calm water. Patrol routes resume. Radios fill with routine traffic again. But everyone involved knows the rules have shifted. Next time, the warning may not come at 70 meters.